Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be WickedBot, the drop bot, taking on BotTato, a Terran bot that I haven't cast in a little while. So I'm excited to see how it does. These two have had some good matches in the past, and apparently the author of BotTato has been working on some Widowmine drop defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. I know there's only 900 people on Earth, but if we can hit, I don't know, 901 likes, that would be amazing. And yeah, if we can get a comment for every like, that would be amazing as well, as that helps us with the YouTube algorithm. So write absolute gibberish in there, more bots, or I don't know, let me know if you're like a soda drinker. I feel like that's something people either do or don't do. Personally, I do enjoy my zero sugar soda. But yes, we have got a little bit of an SCV scout from BotTato. Looks like the SCV has a little bit of programming to make it be a jerk. Worker harassment can be one of the sort of great filters when it comes to a bot, as if you don't program your bot to defend against worker harassment, you'll probably just not make it very far, to be honest. But yes, let's see here, as that SCV just scouted things out, saw that everything was, well, saw that there was 2 racks, and then heads home. We do have a bunker on the high ground for BotTato, so presumably that seeing the double racks is something that spurred it to go for the bunker on the high ground. Maybe it would have gone for it on the low ground, who knows? Looks like this SCV is being repaired, getting a lot of love. 4 SCVs, repairing the 1 injured one. Maybe a bit much, and it looks like they're still... Okay, no, they do all get back to work. That's nice to see. And then we have got another SCV scout moving out, as both bots have at least 1 Reaper on the field, just 1 for BotTato. Meanwhile, WickedBot has got 2 Reapers that are now going to jump inside the main base. The bunker is present. We'll see how well WickedBot's Reapers handle this. They are targeting down some SCVs, but they're getting quite aggressive against that bunker. Still, though, they've forced a massive SCV pull from BotTato, so 2 Reapers for a lot of lost mining time and 2 SCVs. It's not the worst trade in the world, as WickedBot does have this command center going up on its own side of the map. BotTato is being quite delayed. Looks like we did have a situation update under attack. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, BotTato, though, just playing it very safe on 1 base, and presumably going to be going for an expansion at some point. This really is giving the blue Terran bot a nice little lead, though, as that command center's already done. It hasn't started for BotTato. WickedBot is getting up its own bunker on the high ground. It's like, oh, I better be safe. I do really like when Terran bots build their command centers on the high ground. I think it gives a lot of play and wiggle room to sort of managing managing investing in your economy versus playing defensive, as yeah, a lot, like, obviously Zerg and Protoss bots don't have that option, and I think it's more common in bot matches than it is in human games to make a big decision, like whether to expand or whether to, yeah, basically just whether to expand or whether to not expand is a big decision that bot authors make. It's how they sort of navigate the tricky waters between whether they're under attack or not. You can say, okay, well, if I think I'm in trouble, I'm going to build an expansion, but just that's a wide net to cast, basically. Whereas if you say, okay, maybe I'm in trouble, I'll just build the CC on the high ground. That might be a bit of a better option. WickedBot is building a bunker at its natural base. So far, the Reaper of BotTato is just poking on in and out, not getting too much done, maybe bruising up a few Marines here and there. The Blue Terran bot is producing lots of Marines now, as it's got 3 racks bioproduction. BotTato is finally floating out its own command center to take its natural, but the Red Terran bot is really quite behind in that regard. We've got some gases being resaturated by BotTato. SCVs have been long-distance mining as well this game, which I'm not sure if it was preferably long-distance mining earlier over mining gas, which I think might be a decision you have to make as a bot author. For now, the Reaper is coming on in and won't really be able to bruise up any more Marines as the Medivac is out healing them up. WickedBot's already got a phenomenal army, so I think for things to go well for BotTato, it's really going to need defensive engagement. Like have WickedBot attack into your tank, attack into your bunker, that kind of thing. We do finally get a bunker building on the low ground for BotTato. Probably when that's done, it will reposition to secure that location, as I suppose that's a way you can go about programming your bot. Say, okay, I have a bunker's up, the location's secure, and if not, then don't really try and defend it. We've got a third command center going up for WickedBot. Stimpack is just about done. BotTato investing in other tech, a Cloak Banshee to harass a little bit. We do have one turret going up for WickedBot. Presumably once it sees the Banshee, it will invest in more anti-air or detection. But who knows, maybe this Banshee can get some damage done. The turret is definitely out there, so there is a world in which BotTato can navigate around it, but the Banshee doesn't do that. It already eats one turret shot. It stays in range and almost gets killed by the Marines, but fortunately makes it out of there. Still, that's really quite unfortunate for BotTato that the Banshee doesn't get anything done, because now it's just really got nothing going for it. It's playing behind with, just with a worse economy, worse production, worse tech. So it's going to be a tricky road from here. SCV's moving on out to repair the Banshee as the Banshee paths home, but not quite all the way, which is interesting. I wonder how that location is determined. Probably would be better and save more resources just to have it go back to the main base, something like that. For now, we do have WickedBot just chilling, as the Reaper has still been bouncing around for BotTato, maybe delaying a move out of the blue Terran bot. If it's constantly pathing after a Reaper, it's not going to be attacking, but WickedBot is now starting to move out to maybe go for an attack. Banshee is killing off Marines. We'll see if we get a scan or not to handle this. Is there energy for WickedBot? Looks like it's just getting the energy, but no, the command center that finished is lifting off. We do have energy on this command center, though. It does seem that BotTato may have found a bit of a weakness in WickedBot, in that this Banshee is just able to kill off quite a few Marines. There is so much bio for the blue Terran bot that BotTato will not actually be able to kill all the Marines, despite this Banshee getting 14 kills. WickedBot maintains an army supply lead, and then the Banshee tries to path into the main base. So interesting to see that it did start moving once it ran out of Cloak, or was about to run out of Cloak. Still, though, WickedBot has got its third base landed now. We see that SCV transfer happen immediately, and BotTato is just building its third base on location. So naturally, over time, if one bot gets an early lead in Starcraft 2, there's this phenomenon, basically, in which things do even out over time. Like a large lead becomes a small lead over time, so BotTato, it is kind of catching up. Economically, it's going to have to pull off a really nice defense here, as WickedBot is coming in with just a ridiculous 56 Marines, 4 Marauders, 7 Medivacs to support. There's 3 tanks out for BotTato, a Raven, a bunch of Widow Mines as well. The mines can burrow, maybe get some nice splash damage. The tanks are sieging up. The Red Terran's Marines are buffering against this, and so the defense is good, as WickedBot kind of steps back a little bit, but then continues to move in, and the tanks just get so much damage done. A very nice defense for BotTato, and that will greatly improve its position in this game. The blue Terran bot still has a lead, as WickedBot, it's got better upgrades going. It does have a better economy still. Not that much better of an economy at this point. WickedBot's building its 4th command center. BotTato's building its 4th command center, actually on location. So the base lead will be in BotTato's favor just for a moment. Looks like WickedBot is now transitioning to a bit of a drop phase as this Medivac's being chased around. It might have just been trying to flee, honestly. Now we've got a drop moving down towards the bottom right, so WickedBot actually finds a really nice location. If it can cancel this command center, that would prevent BotTato from evening up the economy, and it does. That is a massive blow to the red Terran bot. Is BotTato going to respond to this drop moving further out? Widowmines are under attack. They are not going to burrow. Looks like they had a destination in mind and weren't really considering what was running by them. WickedBot's nice drop is starting to really clean out this third base as SCVs are running all over the place. Tanks are repositioning, but BotTato is now down on supply, down on economy, and going to have to deal with a drop going off in its main base now. This is really going to be a test for the pathing of the red Terran bot. It's got a few units to its north, but it's also got a drop in its main base. How, as a bot author, do you decide to handle something like that? Now this drop is gutting the main base mineral line. Looks like BotTato is responding. Vikings are very nice for responding to drops. They can take the wind out of the sails by removing healing from the dropped units, and might even be able to shoot some of them down. Another drop unloads inside the main base as WickedBot continues to apply pressure as the Vikings for BotTato are still moving around, but unable to get the final shots off on these Medivacs. We see the really nice pathing from the Blue Terran's Medivacs as WickedBot is doing a great job keeping those alive. It seems the bio of BotTato is a bit afraid to engage these Marines. Everything will be cleaned on up. A drop is taking place at the third base onto a tank location, though, which is not ideal. So WickedBot does lose a few units. It's still got a massive lead compared to BotTato. There is still a world, though, in which BotTato can play this one out. If it can just hold a nice position with tanks, let WickedBot keep attacking into it, there's always a chance. We've got WickedBot with 2 Medivacs out on the map dropping around. If it loses a full Medivac, that's a significant supply setback. So far, though, the pullback micro from WickedBot's Medivacs has really been nice, getting to a low HP threshold and then getting out of there. Look at this one, just scooting around, wasting a Viking's time. It does eventually get shot down. Now BotTato is starting to move out to get a bit aggressive, it seems, which is definitely risky. However, it's got those tanks, whereas WickedBot is not a tank bot. So that is a sort of self-inflicted handicap by WickedBot. Look at this, though. You don't need tanks when you're going for a nice drop in your opponent's main base. There was a burrowed Widowmine, which gets a shot off. However, it only kills, I think, 1 Marine. The main command center of BotTato lifts off as it's in danger. I actually really love that. Save the command center is a really nice move. There are more Medivacs flying around for WickedBot. Looks like they may find a building 5th base of BotTato. The command center, this is so cool. BotTato's just ready to get it back in position as soon as these units are being cleaned out. However, it's taking a while to do that, as now there's a drop at the 5th base, distracting the army of BotTato. We see that pathing going backwards and forwards. It's just impossible to, well, it's not impossible. It's incredibly difficult to program good army splitting logic. BotTato is being poked at its natural. It should be able to clean these up. The concern is, though, WickedBot has got such an economy, such production, it can keep just throwing drop after drop after drop, which is why some bots and bot authors do just rely on something like a stationary siege tank or more turrets. I'm really referencing BenBot here, but for example, if there's a tank at every base, it really helps out. That comes with its own weaknesses. It looks like BotTato is trying to rely on these Widowmines to actually defend against the Medivacs, which could be a powerful move. We'll see if they get a good connection or not. Really, you need more than 1, though, to bring Medivacs down from the skies. The 5th base is still getting online as BotTato tries to keep its economy flowing. This command center does have to lift off. We see that very nice behavior once again. Is it going to save it? I'm not too sure. I think so, as the army of BotTato responds. The command center can now go back to position. SCVs should get on repairing that. Looks like there is that Widowmine there. Is it going to take out the Medivac? Yes, it does. WickedBot not considering mines as far as its pathing's concerned. And we are at a situation in which both of these bots are maxed out. So there is a world in which BotTato can maybe get a nice trade and get some damage done. My hopes aren't too high, honestly, as it's at a massive upgrade deficit 3-2 to 1-1 is not a situation you want to be in. Tanks, of course, can help overcome that, particularly with nice low ground to high ground positioning, and WickedBot is going to be eating a lot of tank shots on the defense. It's got so many Vikings to shoot down BotTato's air units. However, the tanks of BotTato are just getting so much damage done. 23 kills, 21, 10, and those are not Zerglings, those are Marines and Marauders, which, while relatively cheap, you don't want to be losing that many of them. The cost efficiency is quite solid for BotTato this game. It's not terrible, all things considered, for WickedBot, and it's arguably still in the lead since it's got a better economy. We even have another drop going on, snatching up a Viking, as WickedBot is just struggling to deal with these tanks, but doing all right elsewhere, as now there's a planetary of BotTato under pressure. SCVs are repairing it. We'll see if WickedBot targets down the workers. It looks like it's getting the odd one, maybe not. This really is the challenge of engaging into planetaries. You either have to kill the SCVs or not fight it, basically. WickedBot's supply really has fallen after feeding into these tanks. It's got quite a bit of supply tied up in Vikings, and we'll just see whether it can get a good engagement on these tanks with maybe getting BotTato's Marines out of position, get on top of the tanks with some of the bio. And an enormous amount of bio is being produced. Where's it all going? I guess just right into Medivacs being queued up for drops, unloading around the map. The upgrade lead is still good for WickedBot, as now it's 3-3 to 2-1. BotTato is getting +2 armor. However, it's going to be an upgrade lead for WickedBot for a long time. The tank count, though, and now being backed up with a ton of Widow Mines, this is approaching a composition where WickedBot will really struggle to deal with it. It's a situation in which you basically have to counterattack as the blue Terran bot. You need to go around, kill bases, shut down your opponent's economy. We've got a drop going off for WickedBot. We'll see if it can maybe target down the SCVs at the base. That would be a nice move. We'll see the drop could also pull back the army of BotTato, which is just in a constant cycle of burrowing and unburrowing Widow Mines. Tanks trying to push forward. The drop is hitting the spot. The bio, yeah, is seemingly focusing on retreating, perhaps, though, and instead of trying to target down those workers, we even have another Widow Mine sieging up for BotTato, and that's going to kill a Medivac. Drilling Claws is present, and the composition is phenomenal for BotTato. It is a strong composition that bots struggle to deal with. Widow Mines and tanks are incredibly powerful and generally require a lot of counter programming if you want your bot to handle them well. Now, WickedBot is going to try and fight this. It's still got the upgrade lead going for it, but it really does need, say, Liberators or just, yeah, to go for a big counterattack. And, yeah, BotTato is really rolling with this composition. 16 Widow Mines, 7 tanks. I'm not sure how many tanks have died this game. The first tank just died, I think, for BotTato, so it's done a great job taking care of these. The Vikings, of course, are controlling the skies for WickedBot, and so that's where maybe it's still getting some of its value, as BotTato's Vikings are just being shot down. 29-7 is not a good trade ratio in that regard, so WickedBot's clearly doing a better job there, but the ground army still remains a threat. We've got 2 tanks on the left shooting away. A Marauder runs forward, but that's the only unit that's really targeting down those tanks. And so another fight really goes in BotTato's favor as the noose is tightening. Widow Mines and tanks sieging up, unsieging nonstop. I apologize if it's very loud for you guys, as I don't think Blizzard intended the sound effects to be played this often in StarCraft 2 when they programmed it. All things considered, StarCraft 2 holds up incredibly well under basically a game with 100,000 APM in it. It's just a testament to how good the engine is. Widow Mines are burrowing and unburrowing, may get some shots off on these Vikings. We see the Vikings trying to get the Medivacs, but also avoid the Marines. Looks like that line has been walked a little too closely, though, as most of the Vikings of WickedBot have died. Still, the blue Terran bot has a really nice economy. We've got Marines stimming in, trying to get on top of tanks, but there's just too many of them, as WickedBot fails to sally forth and take care of those once more. Widow Mines going off. We probably don't have any cloak behavior or scan behavior from WickedBot yet either. Maybe this is the game that will prompt that from the author. I don't think we've seen a scan on Widow Mines at all. We've got Medivacs distracting the army of BotTato, which is quite nice. A command center flying around like a flag or a giant blimp. whatever it may be. Vikings, though, hunting other Vikings is a nice move by WickedBot, sort of keeping its resources lost slightly better than it would be. If it wasn't for all the Vikings it killed, it would be taking a really poor trade. But holy smokes, 464 dead Marines is a enormous amount. And look at this, BotTato actually able to start expanding at the gold. I really thought WickedBot would have claim on this. The Red Terran beats WickedBot to it. We'll see, maybe WickedBot can snap up BotTato's base, as there looks like a command center is being floated on over there. WickedBot's got all these extra command centers for lots of mules, but apparently not for any scans. A tank does get caught out as in transit. That's a way a BioBot can take down a, well, tank-based bot is when those tanks are shuffling around, but yeah, BotTato loses one tank. However, its Marines are doing a generally good job of protecting the siege tanks. Grouping your units is an important part of programming your bot. We've got still an air upgrade lead for WickedBot, but there's not much in it at this point, and soon it will be 3-3 against 3-3 across the board, so there's not going to be a lot going well for WickedBot. It does land a command center here. Oh no, it's doing the bug in which it lifts, lands. We'll see if it solves that when another command center shows up, but nope. Unfortunately, WickedBot is just in a bad cycle. Looks like, okay, it does lift this one off. Well, finally turns it into a planetary, which seems to solve that bug. Still though, it's going to be, I guess, a rather even base count with the gold going to BotTato, and I think this puts WickedBot up a base. My math is not that great, but yeah, things are still quite rough for WickedBot. It grabs a few more Vikings in the sky. BotTato, though, just taking really nice trades, being out on the map. And soon enough, the upgrades will all be completed. 22 minutes into this game. We'll see if WickedBot can make something happen, but I'm just not too sure about it. The trades have been really poor. Bio is kind of grouping up and going forward, however, not in the numbers you need to break a tank line. If, say, WickedBot got 200 supply and stimmed forward and microed, I think it could definitely break this, but it's not doing that. It's fighting with just its bio production, which I guess that could maybe be a way that you help your bot decide when to fight. Thinking about this, I've never really thought of this as an option before. I guess you could monitor your production if you were to want to decide when to fight, because one of the main difficulties when it comes to programming into your bot whether fighting or not is a good idea is that you say, well, if I'm waiting for, say, more supply, I might never get there. I suppose a way that you can address that is to say, okay, I'm producing, say in WickedBot's case, 20 more Marines. It's probably better if I wait before taking this fight. Whereas if it's not producing anything, it's like, okay, I clearly gotta go with what I got. I think that would definitely be an area you could maybe eke out some efficiency from a programming standpoint. I've never really thought of that. Maybe some authors employ it. But yeah, that might be a way to improve that area, as it is one of those locations that's very difficult to improve upon. BotTato still, well, WickedBot, pardon me, still dropping Widow Mines all over the place, or pardon me, mules in the bottom left here, but yeah, BotTato just not slowing down, getting really nice trades. The tanks are too powerful, and it does show the limits of compositions in StarCraft 2. Is there things that WickedBot could do to overcome tank compositions like this? Probably. Is there things it can do without altering its own composition? Not as easily, right? Like, the easiest solution would be for WickedBot to employ its own tanks, or to, say, go for Liberators, something like that. But that's really not its style now, is it? So I guess the most realistic option would be to maybe go for some more consolidated drops, that kind of thing. Or yeah, just pool the units a bit more and hopefully take a better fight. Who knows? Kamikaze behavior, unloading on top of siege tanks, could be an option. The game in general might have gone a bit better if it had been scanning for the mines. That would probably be the first thing to address before you do any crazy improvements as an author. You want to go for the low-hanging fruit, and it might even save you from having to go for bigger changes. And yeah, I think BotTato's got this one, guys. It's been about 20 minutes of units funneling into siege tanks. We might even pass 1,000 dead Marines. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before in a game of StarCraft 2. I mean, I'm sure it's happened in a game I've seen or played, like in some arena game or arcade game, pardon me, but yeah, I don't know about this one. 750 is a lot of dead Marines. BotTato with the gold really has enough money. It's got a good bank, and WickedBot will actually mine out much sooner thanks to all these mules. Is BotTato dropping many mules? It's dropping some. How many orbitals does it have? Just the 3. All the rest are planetaries. WickedBot, on the other hand, has got, oh, how many orbitals? 6 orbitals, so a lot more than its opponent. That's going to be it for this one, though. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the match, click that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I don't even think I said subscribe. That's how mush my brain is at the moment. But yeah, if you do want to support these daily casts, consider becoming a YouTube member. It goes a long way. Maybe you've watched for a while now and you want to support. That join button is a great way to do it. And yeah, also send in replays if you're an author. If you want to help me collect replays, feel free to shoot me a PM. I am looking for someone to sort of pre-pick some replays for the mystery bots matches so I can partake in the guessing game. Yeah. That is just it, though. Well done by BotTato. I'll definitely cast more of BotTato and WickedBot, as I think they have some really great matches. They're both examples of bots that have improved quite rapidly and are quite unique as well, aside from the bunker placement, I guess. But great minds think alike, right, guys? And that is it, though, as we'll wait for everything to get cleaned on up. As my PC tanks under the 50,000 APM at 8 times speed, but not as bad as you think it would be. Well, I guess it's 11 FPS, which isn't great, but I'm also running a 1080 still, which is, oh gosh, it's got to be like a decade old almost at this point, if not already. But that's the beauty of being a fan of old video games. You don't have to get a fancy new PC every few years. BotTato, taking the base that's already mined out. However, I believe there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's no way to easily check whether a base is mined out. That's a question. Like, I know that by default bots will think that a base is available, but I wonder if you can actually program something in if you wanted to. That's a very niche situation, expanding to a base that's already taken, but who knows? Maybe it would be an option. GG.